So I just took 3 trades today with a brand new strategy that I started developing. I'm going to go over the strategy briefly with you guys, but I'm mainly going to be talking about the specific setups, that is the stocks that I actually traded today, as opposed to a strategy breakdown. Now, I don't want to get into the specific details on the strategy simply because this is a brand new strategy here that I barely implemented today. In fact, I only spent a couple of hours actually developing this strategy, so it definitely has a lot of work to do. And if we look down here, you'll even notice that some of these pictures are actually like glitched out for a little bit, and I think it looks better, or at least I hope it looks better on the phone. But if it doesn't, I'll definitely be adding better pictures and better images. Here's a FinViz screenshot here. It's very chopped out, but that was a firework right there. But if you wanted to see the screener that I do use FinViz here, and these are pretty much the little filters that I use to identify these stocks. And today we just had like I don't know, I'd say about 30 stocks to look at, and out of these 30 stocks, 3 of them were prime examples to enter the new strategy that I'm developing here. So another thing to add is that I do consider the groups now, so the performance of the general sectors. For example, we have energy here that performed exceptionally well, 4.5% in 1 week. But the main focus is just the monthly, since we're swing trading here, so these trades could last several days, up to like 2 weeks. So definitely the 1 month performance is the main focus here. And healthcare is actually the top performer here, providing a 7.95% return on the monthly basis here. So with that in mind, you want to go over to the screener here, and then keep everything the same like I mentioned. Right now, I already have the preset saved here, so we don't gotta do all that. So we have everything. The moving averages here, price needs to be above the 200 and the 20 and the 50. Beta over 1, average volume 1 million, average true range over 1, price over $5. So we're not going to trade anything under $5 at this point. The only thing that will change for you will be the healthcare, or the sector. Like I said, depending on the monthly performance on all these sectors right here, you'll be clicking on all these different ones. But in my case, since healthcare is the top performer, well, I'll be changing this one. So looking at the charts again, you'll probably get like 20 or 30 stocks here to look at. And in my case, I already went over these. You probably need to do this like once a week. Build a watch list, keep these in your watch list, and then as the days go on, just analyze them and look at the setups as they develop. Wait for a potential opportunity to jump in. So like I said, I don't want to promote this too much for now, just simply because this is a brand new strategy here and I'm developing it as the days go on. I'm going to put on trades here, learn from my mistakes, and eventually tweak the strategy until I get it to the older strategy here, which brings me to my next point here. The reason why I began a new strategy, not because I'm going to leave this old one, but simply because it's been slow for this one right here. As you can see here, it's been 2 weeks probably since my last trade here, and yeah, so we haven't been trading at all. We haven't even seen any good setup for 2 weeks now on using this strategy, and you don't want to have your money idling like that. Or at least since I do have a simulated account, when you do have real money, or when you're trading a real account, you don't want to have your money idling. Ideally, you would want that money to be used up wisely, of course. And it's definitely been my plan all along to develop more and more strategies, probably build up to 3 strategies at a time and trade those, depending on the load, obviously, because just from today's experience, it was a little bit difficult for me to kind of move things around, put on the trades. But at the same time, if I don't have any good trades here, I definitely do have enough time to put on trades on another one. And if I do feel like things are getting a little too heavy, I could easily just skip one strategy and then just trade with the other strategy if I deem it a better day or a better week for trading that specific strategy as over another one. So for those reasons, I decided to build a new strategy. And so yeah, no trade for the elephant bar strategy today, but I took 3 trades for the trending strategy. So with that being said, I did start a brand new 5K account here, a simulated account, obviously, because I don't know if it's even profitable, and I have no experience using this strategy, so there's no reason for me to trade with real money. But this is actually a pretty complicated strategy, to be honest with you guys. I'm using ATRs, which I've never used in my life. I'm also using ChatGPT to calculate this, so I don't have it up here, but let's see if I could bring it up a little bit real quick, actually. So essentially, I pretty much just give the chatbot, or in my case it's Grok, but it could be ChatGPT, whatever you want. I give it the open and the close of the stock, and then also give it the ATR. So the ATR, you can use a little indicator here. I don't have it up here because I do this all through the phone. But once I do that, it pretty much gives me the entry price, or the entry price is just the close of the candle. So that's already done easily. But the second thing is a stop loss. So it gives me the stop loss, it gives me the target, and it also gives me the 2 places where I could potentially add, which in my case are these white lines right here. So I'll add half of my position. So I entered with 21 shares and at this initial first ad, I'll only add 10 shares, and then the second one I'll only add like 5 or 6 shares. Of course, I already know the exact numbers. I don't have them up here in my order book, but I definitely do have it inside of my chatbot file, or whatever you want to call it, the chat that that Grok uses. So all that stuff is taken care of. All I need to do is just focus on the price action and see what the market does for me. Obviously, if it does come down here to the red line, I'm going to take my loss. It's a $50 loss. I'm only risking 1% per trade here. This stock is TGX. Again, these are all healthcare stocks, so they all have the general market strength in their favor. And not only that, but I mean, let's talk about the technicals already. This thing just looks beautiful right here. Obviously, you have the moving averages just pointing upward, strong, aggressive moving averages just fanging out here, or whatever you want to call it. So that's one thing, the moving averages. As a matter of fact, let me bring up my spreadsheet here, and we'll go over this a little bit more in detail. I'm going to try to make this quick just because I don't have much time. And it's also not going to be a very well edited video like my last videos, but here we go. The first thing we have on the list here is the entry bar. So the entry bar, VCYT trade, we had a green narrow range bar. So let's take a look at that real quick. VCYT, a narrow range bar is essentially a bar that is much smaller than the previous ones and typically comes after a little push like this or a little pullback. And again, we have the moving averages fanging upward, all of them pointing upward, clear uptrend here. At the same time, we also have the volume kind of decreasing here. And then today, this little green bar actually spiked up a little bit. So definitely a lot of good stuff here. So we got the narrow range bar, which is the entry bar here. And then another thing to consider is the moving averages. Again, we already spoke about them. All of them are good. Technical analysis. So the technical risk to reward here. This first one presented a 3-to-1. Some people call it 3-to-1 risk to reward. So it pretty much means that from the low of this candle, how much could we potentially get out of this trade to the recent high? So in our case, this would be a 1 to 3. So we're risking pretty much like, I don't know, what is this, $2 to make like $6 here. So that's a 1 to 3 right there, a potential reward to risk pretty much. Third thing on the list here is the daily trend. So the daily trend, obviously all these are on uptrends, like I explained, using the moving averages as well. Volume, though, again, the volume is declining as we pull back. So this means that the shorts, the people selling, are actually weakening. So it's not much strength here if you see price coming down and then the volume declining as well. And then lastly, we have the sector performance. So the top performing sector is obviously healthcare, which we've been trading here. So those 6 things are pretty much what I'm measuring my trades or basing my trades off of. In the case of TXG, we actually have a 1-to-1 risk to reward. Let's look at it real quick. Yeah, so this is a pretty long wick right here, and then the target is pretty much just a 1-to-1. So again, I'm using the ATRs as actual targets, but I'm kind of measuring the risk to reward using the recent swing high, which in this case is a 1-to-1. So this is a pretty terrible risk to reward, but I still decided to take the trade just because it's still a 5 out of 6. Considering all these things. So that's pretty much what I measure my trades off of. Obviously, these things are going to change. Whatever the case may be, I'm going to be paying close attention here and seeing what's going on. But let's take a look at these technical analysis. Again, we have the moving averages, all of them pointing upward, fanging nicely. And then price kind of pulls back up. You see price catch a little air right here, and then we get the nice little pullback right here. And then what do you know? We have a little hammer right here, a little hammer candle forming. So we decide to enter on these precise candles here. Obviously, any reversal candle after a downtrend typically indicates a potential move to the upside. So let's take a look at VCYT. Something similar here, nice little pullback. We caught some wind right here, and then we pulled back slightly. Narrow range bar right here, entered here, stop loss at this line right here. Again, we'll be adding as the price goes up. So in this case, we had 18 shares. We'll be adding 9 shares, and then on the next one we'll be adding like 4 shares. And then ultimately we hit our target. We'll likely sell half of the position here, and then we'll trail the rest using a popular method, which pretty much moves the stop loss right under the current day's candle. So as the days go on, we'll be moving up our stop loss until we get stopped out for a nice little profit. So that's pretty much the quick rundown of the strategy here. Again, this is another little set. This is the third setup. I don't think I mentioned it, but the moving averages again are pointing upward, just beginning to fang. Nice little pullback right after the price caught some air, but we're right back at the moving average. Hopefully tomorrow we do get some continuation in these 3 stocks here. So we have VCYT, TXG, ADPT, all of them showing very similar setups. The only difference is just the slight variation in the reversal bar. So in this case, it's probably a doji candle, you would call it. TXG, a hammer candle. VCYX, a nice little narrow range bar. So with that being said, I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. We are starting on the account with 5K. I'm going to try to grow this pretty aggressively, mainly just to build some experience trading this and then eventually building upon this strategy. I look forward to these trades here. Hopefully they do play out properly here. I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do in terms of trading with rules and also documenting all the good stuff there is to be documented. If you have any questions, any comments, maybe you have any suggestions, make sure to go leave them down below in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe, you guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Maybe actually, since I always say I'll see you guys tomorrow, but I never upload the next day. But yeah, just stay focused, you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.